Hi, in today's class we will see how recursive functions can be used in C programming. A function which calls itself from its own body is called a recursive function, and this method is known as recursion. So this method can be used for solving many problems. Let's see the figure. So this is a main function, and in the main function I am calling a function recursive, which is a recursive function. So when this function is called, the program flow will go to the recursive function and it will start the statements written in the recursive function. So when it encounters the function recursive again, it will go back to the same program. That means in a recursive function, there will be a call to the same program. In a recursive function, there will be a call to the same function. So in this way, it will keep on executing this operation. So in order to stop this recursive function, we will use some condition in between. That is, some condition is given inside the function to stop the recursive function. So the condition will be given before the recursive function. So that condition will decide whether to return some value or skip this function and go to the rest of the statements in the recursive function, so that at the end it will return some values. Let's see an example of finding out the factorial of a number using recursive function. So this is my recursive function factorial, in which there is only one argument, the number that we pass to find out the factorial. So both are declared as int. The argument is int and the factorial will return an integer value. This is the number that we read from the console to find the factorial. So I am calling here the function factorial of n, and the value returned from that function will be stored in fact, and based upon the value of fact we will display the factorial value, or if there is an error, that too. So let's see the recursive function. In the function it will receive the number and first check if the number is less than 0. For a negative number there is no factorial, so to represent that, a 0 is returned. So in the main function you can see if the factorial value is equal to 0, it will print the factorial of a negative number doesn't exist. So in the function, next it is checking if num1 or num equal to 0, if num equal to 1 or num equal to 0. So in these two conditions, the factorial is 1. That is, if the number is 1, the factorial is 1. If the number is 0, then also the factorial is 1. So it is returning a value equal to 1 to the main function. So in that case too, it will print the factorial because the returned value is not 0. The returned value is 1. Anything other than 0, it will go to the printf statement and it will print the factorial value. If the value that we pass is 0, it will print the factorial of 0 is 1, and if the number we pass is 1, it will display the factorial of 1 is 1. And if these two are not the condition, it will go to the else case. So in the else case, it is finding the factorial using this statement. Num star equal to factorial of num minus 1. The meaning is that num is equal to num star factorial of num minus 1. Num is equal to num star factorial of num minus 1. So you can see this is again a call to the same function. If the number that we pass was 5, the function that we are again calling is factorial of 5 minus 1, that is factorial of 4. So it will go back to the same program. It will go back to the same program and again reach here. So num is equal to num star factorial of num minus 1, that is factorial of 3. So this process will continue until the value num minus 1 is equal to 1. When the value is num minus 1, the result is actually 1. When the value num minus 1 is equal to 1, the return value is 1. Actually, this 1 is returned back to this called function. The called function is the function recursive function itself. So using this value, it will calculate the factorial numbers backward. So how it is done, I will explain using the pictorial representation. So in a recursive function, when the same program is called, it is actually making copy of the program again. So when a function is called, when a recursive function is called from within, it is actually making a copy of the same program. So suppose that the number that we pass is 5. The number that we pass is 5. So when it is asked to calculate the factorial of number 5, it is storing the value 5 to num. Now num is equal to 5 star factorial of 4 is calculated. Num is equal to 5 star 4 is calculated. So to find out what is factorial of 4, it is again going to the same program. So actually a copy of the program is made. The copy is shown here. So when this is called, it is going to the copy of the program. So now num is equal to 4 and it is calculating num is equal to 4 star factorial of 3, that is n star factorial of n minus 1. Now this will create another copy of the code and the execution transfer is now at the third copy. So num is now is equal to 3 and it is calculating 3 star factorial of 2. that is n star factorial of n minus 1, and it is again going to its copy with num value is equal to 2. Now num is equal to 2 star factorial of 1. Again it is making its own copy, but when factorial of 1 is asked us to calculate, that is when num is equal to 1, you can see in the program when num is equal to 1, the return value is 1. The return value is 1. So this will return this value 1 to the called function. So this function copy was called from the same program itself, right? So it is returning this value 1 to here. So it is actually calculating 2 star 1, that is equal to 2, and this 2 is stored in num, and from this program it will return the value 2. So where this 2 will go? This 2 will go to the called function. So now 2 star 3 will be calculated, that is written here, and the result is stored in num. Now it is equal to 6, and it will return the value 6. So 6 is returned to the function from which it is called. Now the factorial of 3 is 6, so 4 star 6 will be calculated. The result is 24, and 24 is saved in num, and it is returning the value of num, that is 24, back to the function from which it is called. Now 5 star the return value, that is 24, will be calculated. The result is 120, and the 120 is stored in num, and this value will be returned back to the main program from which it was called. The value or the result of 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 equal to 120 is passed back to the main program. So the return value is 120. So this condition is executed, the else condition executed. Now it is going back to the main program. The else condition is executed, and it will print the factorial of 5 is 120. The factorial of 5 is 120. Thank you.